Previously on the roommates. All right, for anyone who's maybe missed the drama, the absolute comedy, and the pure cultural chaos, we are here to get you caught up on the story so far. Because believe me, this isn't just about two guys sharing a flat. This is a deep dive into one of the most legendary rivalries in roommate history.
So let's set the scene. We met our two main guys. You've got Mr. Ghana, Kofi, who was just the absolute king of calm, living on Ghana time. And then you have Mr. Nigeria, Tunde, a man who literally has the energy of a packed Lagos street party. Their differences? Oh, they weren't just a funny little quirk. They were the engine for an entire season of hilarious conflict.
And it all kicked off, like these things so often do, over money. A simple utility bill. That's what sparked the very first war. But it became clear really, really fast that this wasn't actually about the cash. Nope. This was a battle for their entire way of life. So, picture this. Tunde comes storming in, slams the bill on the table. In his mind, this is a 5-alarm fire. He's totally convinced that Kofi's habits, charging like 3 power banks at once, are basically a direct threat to his financial survival. For Tunde, this is a crisis, and it needs action, like yesterday.
But Kofi's response? It's just pure, unadulterated chill. He hits him with the classic, no Wahala, no problem, which, is basically the comedic equivalent of pouring ice-cold water on a raging grease fire. It just makes everything explode. And that moment, right there, perfectly sums up their core conflict. Tunde's world of pure urgency versus Kofi's super laid-back philosophy.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting, because this slide shows you the root of the whole problem. When Tunde is demanding his balance, meaning the change he's owed, Kofi genuinely thinks he's asking if he's about to fall over. And when Tunde calls him a muumuu, which to him just means a simpleton, Kofi hears it as the much, much worse insult, fool. They weren't just speaking different dialects, they were living in completely different worlds of meaning. Okay, so after that war of words completely fizzled out, the conflict just escalated. It moved out of private arguments about bills and words and spilled right into the public social battleground of their own living room. And this brings us to the next epic chapter. So Kofi, he plans a small, quiet gathering. A few friends, some nice, gentle, high-life music playing in the background. You get the vibe. But his definition of a few friends was about to have a head-on collision with Tunde's. And bam! This just perfectly shows their social divide. Tunde doesn't roll in with a few friends. No, he brings his family, a whole delegation ready to party. He's got coolers, he's cranking up the Afrobeats, and he turns Kofi's quiet little get-together into a full-blown Naija vibe session. Kofi is just standing there in absolute silent horror while Tunde is having the time of his life.
But Kofi is a patient man. He doesn't get mad, he gets even. And his revenge for the great party invasion of his living room, it was going to be served cold, right during their sacred shared TV time.
So Tunde is totally locked into this super high-energy Nigerian league match, right? Then Kofi just calmly picks up the remote and switches it to a slow, nuanced Ghana Premier League game. The battle for that remote control that follows is this frantic, hilarious dance that ends with them accidentally unplugging the TV entirely. A true tragedy for everyone involved. So, with open warfare clearly leading to just mutual destruction, the rivalry went underground. It turned into this passive-aggressive Cold War, fought not with shouting, but with household appliances and, yes, even condiments. The first shot in this new, silent war was fired in the kitchen. Kofi starts to notice something's up with his precious Shito, this amazing homemade chili sauce from his mom. The level in the jar is mysteriously dropping. He's got a suspect, of course, but he needs proof. And this, my friends, is where we see Kofi's tactical genius really shine. He doesn't confront Tunde. Oh no, he goes full-on secret agent. He marks the container like a detective, then sets this absolutely brilliant trap using Tendi's own beloved suya as bait. It's just a masterclass in roommate espionage. And this right here, this is the checkmate. After catching Tunde red-handed with the suya bait, Kofi deploys his ultimate weapon, a laminated, passive-aggressive sign threatening rough tribal justice. The sheer formality of it, the lamination, that's what finally breaks Tunde and forces him into a hilarious confession. But the Cold War was not over. The final battle of the week was fought over the very air they breathe. See, Kofi wants the apartment at a nice, crisp 23 degrees. For Tunde, that is basically the Arctic tundra. But don't count Tunde out, because this is where we see his special brand of tactical genius. After losing control of the thermostat, he brings out a huge fan, points it directly at the sensor, and tricks it into thinking the room is hot. This forces the AC to blast even colder air. It's a brilliant, if kind of self-defeating, battle of wills. Which brings us right up to speed. The story so far has been an absolute roller coaster of cultural clashes, petty revenge, and some of the funniest misunderstandings I have ever seen. And it has all been leading up to this. So you really have to ask yourself, what is possibly left for them to fight about? I mean, think about it. They've covered finances, social lives, entertainment, and the most basic survival needs. What new frontier of domestic warfare could they possibly discover?
Well, we are all about to find out. The brand new episode premieres this Sunday night. You're all caught up, so now you have no excuse. Don't miss what happens next.